Hello, beach friends. Every time I step onto one of these Southwest Florida beaches, I have this moment where I think, wow, I really get to live here. I mean, some people have gyms. I have tide pools. Some people collect coupons. I collect shells and other beach treasures. And the best part, I get to share all of it with you, this amazing beach loving community who shows up week after week, ready for whatever the Gulf decides to throw at me. Before the sun comes up? Sure. Surprise dolphins? Absolutely. A crab with an attitude problem? Every once in a while. But today we're doing something a little different. I'm going back to 2025 and picking my top 10 favorite videos. The days that made me gasp, laugh, swat bugs, or say, okay, this one's definitely going into the video. These are the memories that made this year unforgettable. So if you're ready to relive the top 10 experiences from 2025 with me, let's go to the beach. Now I'm going in chronological order. This is the first experience of 2025 that was just incredible. I almost didn't go because it was so cold and I thought I was going to have to walk in waist deep water. Well, we cleared that up. I went and oh my gosh, am I glad that I did. So yeah, it might have been a little bit cold and I might have been whining a little bit. But once we were shelling for maybe 15, 20 minutes or so, we discovered the cones. And now look, a good cone day is, 5, right? 5 is fantastic. This day was out of control. There were alphabet cones everywhere. Now, granted, not every single one was pristine, but just having the experience, you don't pick up 3 of them at the same time. Well, apparently sometimes you do. So it was just a really, really exciting day, and they did not stop. Now, granted, there were a couple of other goodies there, like that beautiful shark eye, this really bright orange calico scallop, this orange banded tulip, that's a little bit more rare, albino nutmeg. So if you can imagine, I'm going bananas over the cones, but all of these other gorgeous shells are showing up too. This lace murex, this apple murex. It was so flipping fun. Another lace. I'll show you at the end of this clip exactly all the different shells that were picked up. But this day just really stuck out in my mind because of the quantity of shells, the quality of them, and it really was all of those alphabet cones. Oh, I love those ribcantharus. That happens to be one of those orange ones. Haven't found one of those in a while. This horse conch. So can you imagine? I'm picking up cone after cone after cone, and then all of these other shells. Oh my gosh, that true tulip, gorgeous. And it wasn't just the multitude of small shells and alphabet cones. I happened to find this honkin' lightning whelk too. Now we can see that the tail is a little bendy, makes it a little more special to me, and I'm not exactly sure what is going on. It looks like it could have been broken and then repaired, or maybe the animal just grew a little bit bendy. But either way, in addition to all of those cones, there were a couple of other really great shells. So this was back in January. As I go through these experiences, I'm just going to go in chronological order. I don't know that I could really pick one experience over another one. This one was definitely one of them. I just remember how insanely fun it was. Yeah, 4. Yeah, I don't know that I'll ever pick up 4 alphabet cones in one shot like that, but you know what? I'm certainly going to try. And they didn't end. They just kept showing up. They were everywhere. It was so fun. And I wasn't here by myself. So I was here with 2 other people. So you can imagine how many, just the pure magnitude of fantastic shells that were here. And even as the tide, so now you can see the tide is kind of coming in at this point. And yep, still looking for those cones. Oh, it was just such a fun day. And I was really just kind of tickled that I didn't bag out. I almost didn't go, but boy, am I glad that I did. Yeah, really, really cool experience. And then this, look at all those cones in the bottom left. And then everything else. It was such a fun day. Now, this next experience is kind of different because it was really about one really bizarre find. So I'm on South Beach down at Marco, and the tide is probably low, and I'm in the water a bit. Oh, isn't that pretty? So that's kind of, albinistic rather, fighting conch, liking that with its purple. It's not albino, we know that, but still a really pretty find. Oh yeah, I do like the gaudies. I think I've decided that's my second favorite shell. Oh, and a nice big fat olive. So as we can see, I was there. I'm having a good time. There's, a good assortment of shells are showing up. Oh, that is really pretty. Big fat one. Oh, and this true tulip, that's always a good shelling day when the true tulips show up. I would say I only find like maybe 6 a year. I really don't find many of them. Now, there was also a little shark, which was kind of fun as I was going around that little jetty. Looks like maybe it could have been a shovelhead or something. So again, for me that day, it makes it more exciting when there's more critters. And well, I guess, frankly, I'm not alone in that. I'm sure we all could agree that when there's all this kind of surfing. So I went through the footage of the entire trip, and I'm just kind of cherry picking the really good stuff. Look at that. Can you imagine? I remember that. I just plucked it out of the wash. Yeah, that was pretty cool. But that wasn't the coolest thing. So I'm kind of walking along. Next thing you know, I see knuckles. Now, what do you mean? Well, horse conchs have these knuckles. This is what I'm looking at. I can see those knuckles there. And I'm like, what? Because typically they're really in much deeper water, and I'm very close to the wash. Like I'm close to the beach. This typically wouldn't be here. So I guess it does happen every once in a while. Now, this isn't the first time this has happened, but it's so shocking. What? So yeah, that was really cool. I kind of expected it to be broken up in pieces. Oh, look, yep, bonus. There was a little bonus fighting conch in there, but I'm not really going to pay much attention. It's all about this horse conch. So that was really cool. Totally unexpected. Yes, I realize going to the beach and I'm looking for shells, but every once in a while something really awesome just really surprises me. That kind of shouldn't have been there, but managed to find it anyway. So that was really fun. So this was a day that stuck out to me because not because I found the horse conch, but kind of the way that I found it. Woot woot. So yeah, I don't find them often, probably because I typically don't shell in the real deep water. I am kind of a shallow water sheller. So oh look, and there was a cone there too. So yeah, this day was the number 2. I apparently spent a lot of time in the water, all wrinkly. And then this was the final haul. So it was that big horse conch. There's a little horse conch, a couple other smattering of things, but it was that big one that really just stuck out in my mind. Now, this next day, a little bit more like the cone day. So this was April. So far I've had a couple of really cool days. This is Fort Myers Beach. This is the very, very south end. It's looking pretty beat up because it has not been renourished yet. And that's actually what I think gave me all of the cool nutmegs. Now, I didn't find nutmegs when I first got there. There were a couple of other things, a little bubble, little horse conch. Fun little things is typically what you will find here. I really should look for wentletraps one of these days too. Anyway, finally one showed up, and then 2, and then eventually it was apparent that there were going to be tons of them, and that just made it really fun because again, it doesn't typically happen where you find so many of the same species. All right, perhaps the really, really common shells, but not nutmegs or alphabet cones for that matter. So this was really fun. There was just nutmeg after nutmeg. Some of them had really bright colors on them. Oh, look, I guess I paused for a Florida cone, and frankly, really cool. And that little spot on it, I think that's from a jingle. I think I've finally determined sometimes I'll find shells with that little spot, and I'll talk about that some other time. But for now, we're still on Fort Myers Beach, seeing what I can find. All right, and that's not a terrible alphabet cone for Fort Myers Beach. It's pretty okay. To be fair, most of the good ones are kind of down in the Keewaydin area. Look at that gaudy nautica. Oh, that is awesome. That is a big fat one. That is fantastic. Oh, and a hinged spiny jewel box. So apparently, other than nutmegs, there were a couple of other really great treasures. But yeah, there's another alphabet cone. Always excited to find them, and then you kind of just go about and figure out their condition. Yeah, that one's borderline, but still, it's fun to find them. So there was another alphabet cone. Woot woot. And there was also this lovely pear whelk. Nice size, nice coloring. Yeah, that's actually a really beautiful shell. But to be fair, these aren't the ones that made me remember the day. It was the nutmegs and the sheer multitude of them. It just doesn't happen. Again, like the cones, you don't typically go, look at how pretty that one is with all the beads on it. But you don't typically go and find just so many. So that just made this day really stand out for me. It was the nutmegs at Fort Myers Beach. And this happened, I think, because of the dredging. So some of the other beaches were repairing from Hurricane Ian, and we got Mexican talons and painted egg cockles. Here at Fort Myers Beach, at least for this week, it was all about the nutmegs. And that was just really fun. So it's just one of those things that are going to be kind of stuck in my memory. Good shelling days are fantastic, but this day was really an anomaly because I found 80 nutmegs in one day. And it's just very rare for something like that to happen. And then there was a couple of other little goodies that day as well. So my next best incredible day ever, this was diving. So for me, it wasn't my first dive because my first dive actually didn't go very well. This was a class I took for buoyancy, and look, it's a spotted eel. The only time I've ever seen things like that were either on TV or in an aquarium. So to be in the wild with these animals or this animal was really, really incredible. But this was not the only critter I got to see. I got to play mermaid with a sea turtle. So when we dropped down, the turtle was there on the reef and I just about died. I was absolutely in heaven. Yeah, it just was so magical. So clearly, this was one of the experiences that was definitely going to make it to my top 10. Can you imagine? In a way, I kind of look back and like, I still can't believe that this happened to me. And I am looking forward to getting back out to diving again. But this particular dive for me was just absolutely over the moon. So this is a green sea turtle. And I also think that I figured out it was a female. You can tell by the size of the tail. The males have much bigger tails. All right, I'm kind of guessing. I'm thinking it's a female. Oh, it's just beautiful. And again, being in the wild out there with it, it was absolutely incredible. So this was one of my dream come true moments. Of course, it was going to make it into the top 10. It really was absolutely magical. Look at the size of the barnacles on that creature. Wow. Oh, it was so fun. Now I got to be careful because you're not really supposed to exert yourself. You can't really catch your breath when you're diving. You're supposed to be kind of chill. So as much as I wanted to, chase the turtle, it's just best to let it go off and do its thing. And that's okay because there was a couple other things to see, like this moray eel. How cool is that? Yeah, I was really excited. All the creatures really just tickle me. I can't wait to, well, maybe a shark. That was a little scary. I did see a nurse shark. I did not get to record it. So look at this glorious. Now, my understanding is the creature is actually blue, but it puts a layer of yellow slime, for lack of a better term, to kind of protect itself. And that's what makes it look green. So it finally kind of came out of its hidey hole. Oh, isn't it majestic? It was a pretty big one too. I mean, if I had to guess, that's maybe 5-6 feet. So it kind of, and there's a good reason I'm going to kind of follow this creature. I'm going to speed it up. Maybe not right here, but in a second. Oh, look at how beautiful and ribbony it is. Yeah, I'm going to speed this up a little bit because look at what we have here. Now, this is a queen conch. How cool is that? Now, kind of like up on the beach, I do have if there's anything living in it or on it, I don't take it. And this one was rather rough anyway. It really wasn't that hard to put it back, but there was clearly something growing on the shell. And so I just was not willing. Again, the shell wasn't in great condition, so it wasn't really all that hard to put back. So I did not keep this queen conch, but it was still very exciting to recognize it, kind of know the shape of it. So that was really cool. But good news is that I managed to find a better one that was empty. Now, I wasn't able to record it when I grabbed it, but believe me, I have it in my hand. Am I going to show it to you? There we go. Oh yeah, I was struggling a little bit with it. So this was my first queen that I was able to keep. And I'm trying to not, yeah, my weight. So I'm moving. Yeah, I'm a little heavy at this point, so I'm trying not to crash into the bottom of the ocean. And look at this. Now, granted, I am not a queen conch expert. This is only my first one. I'm still really happy. It is a little pitted, but wait until you see what the bleach did. I never expected it to be this pink and this glorious. There was a little bit of cleanup involved. I did spend a lot of time grinding. And yeah, me and the Dremel got intimate. We spent a lot of time together. And yeah, I was spending a lot. Actually, I had to go out and get new little wheels and tools and stuff. But one day I'm going to turn that into a horn. But that was really, really exciting. Now, this day, I remember I was going to an event over on the East Coast. And I said, hey, why don't I go early and, go shelling in the morning? So that's what I did. So I was already excited about the evening and the things that were going to happen. And here we have a crosshatch lucine. So that's always really fun. So that was great. Oh, the scallops. There were so many fabulous, tiny little scallops. So they were absolutely delightful. All different colors. Some of them were rough, I want to say. I think some of them might have been calico scallops, but there were just so many tiny ones. Look at this beautiful yellow one. So that is a rough scallop. Oh, that is awesome. And oh yes, the shiny augers. So I don't get to find those very often. So that was really exciting as well. Aren't they cool? Yep, and they get their name because they are actually shiny. I've never found one on the west coast of Florida. I've only found them on the east coast. Look at this cool limpet too. Yeah, that is neat. And I don't think I was able to ID specifically what kind of limpet that one is. I don't think it's a cayenne keyhole limpet like the ones I usually find, but that was really cool. And so was this maculated baby's ear. Yes, it was broken, but the baby's ear is kind of nice. When you hold it like that, it looks perfect. So that was kind of fun. I don't usually find the maculated ones. Look at this lion's paw. I realize it's small, but it's just about perfect. Oh, that was a really great find as well. So I was having myself a good old time. And then the Imperial Venus clam showed up. Yeah, I love those. Those are also called wedding cake shells, Pawleys Island shells. Technically, yeah, they have a bunch of different names. I just call them awesome. Love when they show up. Oh, and flats too. No wonder this showed up in one of my top 10. There were so many fun shells. Oh, what a great variety. And again, like I said, it was already good mood. There's all these fabulous shells showing up. And then the Scotch bonnets. And it wasn't just, I said plural. So it wasn't just one, it was several. And just finding one, again, for me is enough, but it was more than one. So that just made it that much more exciting. So yes, there was a couple of things in between these finds, but all of a sudden, yep, the Scotch bonnet started showing up. Got to rinse that one off. And so it was nice because there was a variety of them. Some of them were a little bit lighter than others. Some of them had their checkers on them. This one was really cool because it had an extra varus on it, kind of like that other lip on the other side. I had to reach out to Dr. Liao from the Shell Museum to find out what was going on with that. Yeah, I thought that was really kind of neat. And then this one, so this one's a little more lighter. It doesn't quite have the checkers on it like some of the other ones did. And it wasn't just Scotch bonnets. Look at this cutest little turkey wing I've ever found. How? On the East Coast, I don't know, but I did. So that was really fun too. But my heart did skip just a little bit every time I saw one of these little globes kind of pop out on the beach, including this. Look at this little one. Oh, was so tiny and perfect. So the whole haul, this was all of them. I guess there were 7 Scotchmonts in total, and just so many different shells. It was a day. It just stuck out to me. Really, really incredible. Now, this day on Sanibel also stuck out to me because it was one of those days where I got to find a lot of the same shell. So if I'm at Lighthouse Beach, I am probably hunting for the wentletraps, and when I do that, I'm going to find the dwarf olives and some of the other smaller species. So here is a dwarf olive. Fantastic. And this is a dove snail, so a little dove shell. I know. I know. I have actually bought a little magnifying glass, so I will be taking that onto the beach with me for these little tiny shells. But what I was there hunting for was the wentletraps. Now, it wouldn't be unusual for me to find wentletraps here. This is where I normally go if I do want to find them. I'm still not great at finding them. Sometimes I do okay, sometimes not so much. But on this particular day, the wentletraps were there, and I was lucky enough to find them. And then I kind of noticed they kind of kept showing up. I had found this little pocket, and I just kind of kept at it, and there were so many of them. Yeah, it was really, really cool. Now, I did buy a digital microscope. I do hope to eventually kind of tease apart what kind of wentletraps these are. I do think, is this the one? It's a little bit shorter. Like some of them do just look a little bit different. So I do hope to, in the future, kind of finally tease apart what exactly type of wentletrap I'm finding. So there was that one pocket. I kind of exhausted it. I walked off and managed to find a couple other things. What am I chasing here? Oh, I'm chasing a wentletrap. All right, so I found that little banded tulip and apparently more wentletraps. Yeah, I did have wentletraps on the brain. And I was lucky enough to find a couple on this particular day. Now, they all weren't pristine, but still really fun. And I went back to that pocket and there were still more. So for me, it was just a really, really fun day on Lighthouse Beach because there were so many of the shells I was looking to find. Yep, those I actually see. It's not unusual for me to show you a shot like that and miss the shell. They really can be hard to find, which again is why it was so exciting to find so many. So yes, thank you, Lighthouse Beach, on this particular day. You're really quite good to me. In total, I managed to find 40 wentletraps. So on the bottom right there, that's all the wentletraps. So I know it doesn't look like a lot, but it's still ranked as one of my top 10 experiences because that hasn't happened to me. Now, the next experience, we're back under the water. And what I loved about this is that I was specifically hunting for things under the water. So yeah, this was the first time I've ever gone out looking for megalodon teeth. So one of my subscribers had invited me to go diving, and diving I went. So this is one of the little shark teeth we managed to find. You're not going to see that against my black glove. Nope. But just know there is a shark tooth in my hand. And there were so many live serifs. Oh, look, I managed to find one on my own. That was kind of exciting. So there were so many live serifs that are also very pointy and black, and they were just everywhere. So literally looking for a needle in a haystack. Now that is an arrowhead sand dollar. Isn't that neat? They live in a little bit deeper water, so I typically don't ever see those. I do have one in my collection, and this one was a little broken, and I was not convinced I'd be able to take it to the surface without destroying it, so I just left it. But look what my partner found. She did find a megalodon tooth. Now, this was her first. I was really happy that I got to see it and experience it and hold one of those teeth in my hand while we were diving, and there all those dark serifs. I don't know if you can kind of tell. So I did manage to get a couple bones and fossils and things. They don't appeal to me. I don't know that they ever will. And then I found a couple of broken teeth and then a couple of whole teeth. So it was, again, a really cool experience. I can't wait when I can go diving specifically looking for shells. So I will get to that. Now, this next adventure was truly a little bit more adventurous than I normally get. Now, this is all mud. I'm here for crown conchs. I did come with my friend, so I'm not here alone. But this is not my typical hunt. Yeah, I got my boots on, and the mud was thick The bugs were thick, and there were live creatures everywhere. So it felt like every single shell we found was occupied. Every last one of them. Now, I did see a big fat lump out there, and I wanted to go inspect. So it took me a little while, lots of effort. I managed to stay upright, so that was really, really good. And once I got there, it was alive. So still cool. I'm not going to get to keep this particular shell, but just to hold that in my hand, that animal, oh, amazing. Super muddy crown conch. Now, I did happen to see this. Now, it's unfortunate. It's a shell. I mean, it's very fortunate that I found the shell. Unfortunately, the animal inside of it is not viable. So just considering my luck, that was literally I think there was 2 shells I brought home, and that was one of them. And I didn't really know what I was kind of dealing with. It's kind of hard to tell with the crown conchs, which makes them so special. Now it went into, scrubbed it up, went into bleach, and will you look at the transformation. So I was really tickled. I drove a long way, got really muddy, got bitten by bugs a lot, but it was totally worth it. Now this next adventure, I just remember how good I felt. I just felt just up and alive, and it just was such a fun day. And the shells showed up in addition to me feeling so wonderful. That tinted canthus is really pretty, and so is that auger. Actually, there was a whole bunch of fabulous little shells. Some of them are better than other ones, you know, like alphabet cones. Yeah, I do have to admit, I do think those are a little bit better. But the one shell that really kind of stuck out to me on this particular find was this one. So this is a rose murex, but it's very, very bendy. And so we very lovingly call this a freak shell. So this is my little freak rose murex. I think it is awesome. It's hard to find rose murex, but to find one that has an anomaly like that, that just makes it a little bit more special. So that was really, really fun. And something else that I just remember from that day was the beauty of this area and a very impressive storm that was brewing just offshore. And to be kind of close to it, yet far enough away, you can hear it. Yeah, I just thought it was really, really pretty. So to see this and be far enough away again where it wasn't really going to impact us. But at that point, we're like, yeah, probably a good idea for us to scurry. And we did. And it probably was just as well. We were completely safe, but it was a really fun experience. And in addition to the wonderful memories that I have, I did keep a couple of souvenirs, including that little bendy rose murex. Now, this last event that I would like to talk about, it just happened to me not that long ago. So many of you may have already experienced this. It is about one particular shell, a shell I've been hunting for a couple of years that I literally was talking about on my boat ride out to the island. So I'm here at Key Waden. This just happened mid-November, and it was just like any other shelling day. High hopes, super happy. Yay, the cones are showing up. Because frankly, anytime the cones show up is a great day. So I was minding my own business, picking up cones. And frankly, what happened to me, I would call shellendipity, because I was looking for one thing and something else kind of appeared. So like I said, I'm busy kind of picking up my alphabet cones, and I have learned to look around. So I'm down for the cone, and I do see this other white shell, and holy smokes, it's an albino fighting conch. And you all know that I didn't know at the time just how incredibly gorgeous this thing is. I can kind of see it with the periostracum, but I didn't know. I didn't really get the full effect of this gorgeous shell until I got home. Now, I was showing people as I was there. I did show Allie from SWFL Shell Guide was on the island because I took a tour with her. So she is there, and I was showing her. Again, I'm not as excited as I could have been because I just didn't know. So finished my tour, picking up my alphabet cones. There was a couple other shows. There was this lightning whelk, not too shabby either. That's a decent looking lightning whelk. And I wasn't quite done with the cones, but frankly, it was really about that fighting conch. So when I got home, I put it into bleach, and then I died and went to heaven. So, yep, I still don't know yet. I'm like, I wonder how that's going to look Guys, when I took it out of the bleach, so this isn't dried. In the video, I had it wet, I had it dried. I actually took it back to the beach and took more pictures of it. It's just gorgeous. So yeah, that was definitely one of my top 10 experiences from 2025. Super duper fun. Oh yes, and it had that little freckle on it. Yep, it's got that little imperfection, which just makes it a little bit more special. So that, again, was one of my top 10 experiences. And as I look back on these top 10 moments from 2025, I'm reminded how incredibly lucky I am, not just to experience all this, but to share it with such a kind, supportive community. Every beach walk, every shell I find, every unforgettable moment, they're richer because you're here with me. And I especially want to say a heartfelt thank you to my Patreon family. Your support truly means more than you know. You help make these videos possible, and I'm deeply grateful for the trust and kindness you show me by being part of this journey. So if you see your name on screen, thank you for believing in this little corner of beach life. And to everybody watching, I hope this video inspires you to slow down, step outside, and find something that brings you joy, whatever that might look like to you.